Thank you so much for tuning in. Have you had your hot cup of Eden tea? If you haven't, my friend, there's something you're missing out on. You need to grab some Eden tea, the finest garden tea available at the supermarkets, affordable prices, excellent packaging, great taste and consistency. Eden ginger tea, Eden lemon tea, Eden green tea, Eden purple tea, and Eden premium tea. And Eden tea is reminding us in this season, let's care for one another because Eden tea cares for us as well. And let's continue to maintain the COVID-19 protocols, washing our hands with soap and running water, putting on our face masks, very important, and putting them on well, and also maintaining interpersonal distance, especially when we're out there interacting, going about our work and our businesses. Let's continue to maintain those protocols. They are for our benefit. We are not yet out of the woods. Let's not slack. Let's tighten up things because together we will come out victorious. Remember, Eden tea is the finest garden tea. Before we get into Man Up today, we want to take a look at the local dailies. What are some of the stories that are making headlines today? Big story, Daily Nation. What went wrong? Around 8:30 a.m. yesterday, a Kenya Air Force Mi-171E helicopter crossed from Kisamis of Ologoria Hill on its way to Oltinka in Kajiado County. On board were 23 soldiers, including 2 pilots and their squad leader. The sky was not very clear, but the helicopter had flown past the biggest obstacle, the hill. So, the question is, why did it crash? Take a look at that story, front page Daily Nation. Also, proudly Kenyan, now let the WRC Safari Rally fun begin. Picture here of President Kenyatta flagging off rally driver Zobi Slow Sada with his co-driver Thomas at KICC yesterday as the 2021 WRC Safari Rally rolled off. Kabogo in 4.5 billion shillings land bribe dispute. That story also on the front page. More on the Safari Rally. My wife authored my legacy, says Safari Rally legend Patrick Njiru. Rally legend retired after 20 years of racing, and he attributes his success to his wife. That's a wise man right there. Wise man right there. There's quite a bit on party politics, route of turn between East and West. In Mount Kenya running met tussle, and also Raila says, I couldn't believe Midiwo was dead. You can take a look at that also in the local dailies. The story on Kabogo and the bribe is also there. More details about the crash of the army chopper. You can take a look at it in here. On matters COVID-19, studies have shown that COVID vaccines do not cause infertility. Uptake of vaccines across the world has been hampered by misinformation, which is expected in a situation like this, but we soldier on. There's quite a bit from the opinion pages. You can also check them out and find out what different people have to say about different subjects. In the county news, I'm de facto spokesman for Mount Kenya. Munya declares, read more about that. And there's also quite a bit from various counties from across the nation. COVID-19 counties focus on economy, health in their budgets. Being a Friday, the pullout is My Network. You are not alone. The battle with mental illness can be lonely, but it does not have to be. We meet 5 young people who have trounced it and are determined to break the stigma around the subject. Mental health issues are on the rise, and that is why every Friday we usually have Food for Thought with Professor Ndete. So look out for it. It will be coming your way right after our discussion on Man Up today. Also in the pullout today, you can read various articles about people and what they are doing to bring about change in their communities. And then jumping all the way to the sports section of the Daily Nation newspaper today, Battling Kenyans close in on 2020 Tokyo tickets. This is beach volleyball Olympic qualifiers. You can get the latest updates. Also, we have the latest updates on the UEFA Euro 2020. Germany out to prolong England's 55 years of hurt. And then, as expected, long wait is over. Fans line the streets to catch a glimpse of the Safari Rally spectacle. Pictures to go with that. You can take a look at that. Back pages, Kenya gets 44 billion shillings from IMF in a new deal find the details in the Daily Nation newspaper today. That and much more utapata magazetini. Grab your own copy. Keep yourself informed on what's happening both locally and also internationally. Coming up shortly, we get into Man Up, and today we are talking about raising boys in this generation. Stick with me. Wanaume, vuta stool karibu na radio na karibu na TV. We need to talk about our boys. We are always talking about the girl child, the girl child. She has been over-empowered. Where? How do we empower our boys? Today we talk about raising boys today. I've got two amazing gentlemen joining me in studio. We have David Mbatia, who is a parent and also an entrepreneur. David, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm very fine. Good to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much, man.
We are hoping you will help us to bring down Goliath.
As for me, I'll just give my example because actually it's not that I've read a book, but it's something that I've done and I've succeeded in it.
Great. Good to have you. We also have Peter Mbuchi. Peter Mbuchi is a theologian and a parent. Good to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
You know, Waswahili walisema palipo na wazee hapaharibiki neno. And looking at
Absolutely.
your gray hair and my gray beard, David doesn't have hair. I don't know where he took his hair. Where is your hair? Oh, okay. I retract my statement. Peter, karibu sana. It's good to have you. Peter, let me begin with you. I'm just wondering, when you think back to how you were raised up and how we are raising our boys today, is there a difference?
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. There's an entire array of differences, not just one.
Okay.
Differences. My society, I was raised up just immediately after the Mau Mau War.
Wow.
Actually, part of my growing up for 4 to 5 years were in the war itself, and then thereafter, growing up in a rural setting, Tudo, in the former Kagema division. When we were growing up, we had a lot to learn from the social environment.
Okay.
Observing the relationships, paying attention to what we are told, and also posing questions without fear. That's a big difference. Today, with the new technology, with the new communications media, the boys have an avalanche of information. Before you even talk to them, they have heard so much, they have seen so much, and there's a whole lot of noise around them. So to speak to them, one has to have very fine skills, communication skills, yeah.
Wow. You know, I'm just thinking, David, also back in the day, there was that community aspect. You know, boys belong to an age group. You know, you're put in age groups. You know, you went through whatever it is your culture took boys through together, and you grew up together and you learned from one another. But today I find that is no longer there, or if it is there, it's very minimal. Do you think that has affected how we raise boys today?
Yes, it has. And I would say on opening is our culture has been glutted with information, but it is starved with wisdom. As Mr. Mbuchi has said, there is a lot that is happening, especially, say, for example, media. Like what you're doing is this is what is ought to ideally have happened and continue to have happened. But we find that, yes, as much as we are, it's our community. But then again, what are they learning from this community? Vis-a-vis, how are they influenced? Yeah, because as Mr. Mbuchi has said quite correctly, is these boys are being trained by you know the observations they make on us. But then again, what are they being exposed to? And as I repeat myself, all that is being passed on to them, there is not much wisdom as we have seen as we grow up.
Okay. You know, I find that today, Peter, that we have so many single mothers and we have so many absentee fathers. How is that affecting the young men that we are raising who will become the fathers tomorrow and the leaders of tomorrow?
Radically. Radical because we are social animals. We have evolved, we have socially evolved over millions of years as a species, not as a Kikuyus, but as a species. And we know from studies from people like, say, Desmond Morris on The Naked Ape, that human beings observe a lot. And they learn more about what they observe and experience than what they hear.
Okay.
Now, I think not so long ago, there's a book called The Absentee Society, about the American society, that part of the crime problems in the USA were attributed to the absence of fathers from their families. And the boys grew up observing maybe other crimes, other criminals, and therefore they did not have what Barthes calling wisdom, the wisdom of experience. What I can do is that I have raised three boys. They are now mature. There are other boys around who call me dad and with passion. But I think most of them have not had much from me, what I say, but rather observed how I interact with them. If you want examples, I can give.
Yeah, give us some examples. Give us some examples.
Let me give you about money and drugs. Just those two examples. My kids, both boys and girls, grew up with my wallet on the table. They had access to the wallet anytime, and even up to today. And what they know is that the money in the wallet is not mine; it is not theirs. I'm a custodian, and I have a detailed kind of. I have details about how this money is going to be used. If it disappears without my knowledge, maybe the whole family would be in trouble. And they have,
yes,
they have learned that up to today. My, let's say, my ATM cards and all that, they are never hidden. Neither are the numbers. They know. So anybody can be sent to the bank. Another aspect is about the drinks. As soon as my boys got up to the age of 10, 11, I told them that let us sit down and make an agreement. I will not drink any alcohol until you are big enough so that we can take alcohol together, until you are 18. And that is what happened. When I was with them or away, I never drank until they were 18. Now I can put my wine here, I can put my whatever it is, and they never touch it. But that is learned.
Okay.
That is learned behavior. Yeah.
Okay. I'm wondering, David, what have been some of the challenges you've had to face as a parent raising up children in this generation, and how have you overcome them?
Just to give a little bit of how I've raised my boys. I have two boys. One is my biological, and one I've raised from, I adopted from the street.
Wow.
So
how
you
old
see
are they?
the variance.
How old are they?
The elder one, the one that I picked on the streets, is 22.
Wow.
He's turning 22. And the smaller one, my biological, is turning 8. And I would say there's no, I would say like the right way or the wrong way. I would say, as in there's no template to raising these boys. But I would say it was not easy, and especially for me when I met this young boy from the street, and I met him. He was quite young, and comparing to what I was giving my small son and him, you know. First of all, he came with a background of hardness, you know. He's from the streets. He has a skill that, you know, he's not used to the privileges that I was giving to my son. You know, like say, for example, he was not used to saying thank you. He was not used to, you know, unataka hii, say, being told thank you, being told, you know, being told, giving instructions and following instructions, being given, like say, for example, you have a schedule, you know, you have to follow it. So it was not very easy. But then again, I'm going back to the basics, you know, the basics of I had to do so that he sees. You know? Another challenge that I had with a background that I've been in media for quite a while, and you know how media is fast track, you know? So there's this thing that I had where I'm available but not connected. You know, before I got saved. You know, I was available to my family, but not connected to it.
Yeah.
But when I got saved, so I became now available and connected to them. So this has also impacted on my two sons, where I'm not, because the current set of parents that you are seeing today, and especially those of us who have money, you know, we on Sundays, you see, we jam all these places, food places,
yeah.
you know. But look at the man. What are the parents doing? You know, maybe we are on phone. Maybe we are not connected to this. You know, we are available. Yes, niko hapo. I'm with my children, and people are seeing just for the sake watu waone kwamba I hang out with my children. But then again, am I connected to them? Do I know what my son is going through? Do I know? You know, even his friends. Do you even know who your best friend of your son is? So these are some of the things that I tried very much to get into my son's lives. Even the little one. Today I connect with the best friend's parents, and I get to know who he is, and also this elder one. So by the end of the day, it's about being available and connected.
Okay, Mr. Mbuchi,
that is what has helped me.
Mr. Mbuchi, I'm wondering how a parent, especially a father, because this is a show about men, is supposed to find balance. Because I'm sure if you look back to, you know, when you were younger, probably when you began working and looking at life now, we live in a society where, just like David has said, life is too fast. We have so much to do. We are so busy. We are trying to provide for our families, and everybody wants to provide the best. So sometimes you have to work long hours. Maybe after that you have a side hustle you're running, or maybe you have to go for evening classes, or maybe you're involved with the church and you have to go for all these things. How do you find balance so that you are actually present and available for the young men that you are raising up?
Well, that is a hard question. When my boys were very young, I was working in Karen and living where I do live even now in Buruburu. And I was a CEO, therefore I had to be first at the office and last in the office.
Wow.
That means crossing the equator.
Yeah.
Crossing in a hurry in the morning to get to work, and in a hurry in the evening to get home. But I think, if I remember very well, my studies of sociology, theology, and others influenced me so much so that I made sure that I am available, physically at least, that the kids see me in the morning before they go to school, and they see me as early as possible in the evening.
Yeah.
So I was conscious that I'm being observed and I'll be imitated.
Wow.
So I made an effort that we went to church with them always. I prepared myself early that they can see me go to church. We prayed at home for food and such things. So I think the aspect of observation has been very strong in my family. Less of saying and more of observing, but of course, consciously doing it. I am being there for a purpose.
Okay.
I am being observed and I'm observing.
Great. If you have any questions for us today, we are talking about raising boys today. Do you have sons? What are some of the challenges you're experiencing, or what are some of the victories you have experienced? Because we can also learn from one another. That's why we do this show. So share those with us on SMS. 20316 is the SMS line. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. It is Man Up. We are talking about raising boys today. Question is, are you raising up boys? How are you doing it? Talk to us and tell us what you're experiencing, your victories and your challenges. Liz Wamboi, you say raising boys is not easy. It's not an easy task. You will find one of them is resisting everything that you say, and another one can be able to reason with you, but you have to keep on building them day by day. But when boys hear the voice of a man, they relate themselves so much. I don't know what you can say about that statement, David. because I've had it several times, that sometimes in the home, your wife can be telling them, you know, make your bed, make your bed. She's singing the whole morning. And then you just say, what did your mom tell you? And people run all over the house to get the job done. So the importance of the voice of the man in the home, what can you tell us about that?
There's also the flip side of the coin.
Oh, okay.
On this, there's also the flip side, because where did it start? Because you see, our wives make very, very grave mistakes, where they say, "Nitaambia daddy, akikuja." You see, that is where it all starts to rain. Where I'm not, maybe for example, I've been traveling quite a while, but then again, what I leave my wife to do at home, it says. And that's where they make a mistake. You know, when, say, for example, you want to correct your son and you say, Daddy akikuja nitamwambia ulifanya nini. So what are you doing? You are giving power to this, young man, or, you know, or this boy, you know, so that when you come back, it's no longer with the authority that he has. But then again, coming back to the authority of a man, and especially, I'm assuming the lady is single. What I've done that, and to the closest of my family, you know, where this lady, the lady should be probably look for either a brother, an uncle, or involve them also in where the boys are, or where boys are being accompanied, you know, so that there is also, as Metu said, we are social animals, you know, so that at least they can be able, because these boys grow by observing. So if they don't observe, then they'll grow, you know. Another mistake also our ladies do is to, when we were growing up, there are some things that we were not used to, you know. Say, for example, wachakulia kama msichana, you know, those things. Then again, our current upbringing is yes, hug the baby, hug, you know, or do all those, you know, softy, we call them softy stuff. But then again, do it with a boundary, because how you relate to a girl is not how you relate to a boy. So true. I feel that lady, but then again, there are other opportunities, there are other platforms that you can be able to expose your boy, and he grows to be a man of purpose.
Okay. Mr. Mbuti, I have a question here from Robert. Robert is asking, how do you deal with having to be absent as a father because your job requires you to be away from your family? So I'm in Mombasa and the wife is in Busia, and you can't move them to where you are, neither can you go to where they are. How do you ensure that you're still effective as a father raising boys? You're on mute. Your microphone is on mute.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Yeah. My answer will be more theoretical than practical.
Oh, okay.
For the reason that, having read the books I mentioned, like The Fatherless Nation, I made an effort, as I said earlier on, to be present as much as possible to my family. But now with the questioner who is in Mombasa and the spouse is maybe in Busia, apart from making as regular visits as possible, and apart from making calls almost on a daily basis, asking how things are, telling them what you're doing, I do not see any alternative.
Okay.
Society has shifted. We have had a very rapid social transformation where families are scattered. They're no longer kind of knitted together by function, daily functions and contact. So we would have to make, I'm now to address myself to the young men, and I am no longer bringing up kids, they are all grown up. One would have to make an effort and say, I want to be a father, not just a parent. I want to be a father. And fatherhood is social. Parenthood is biological.
Yes.
I have to be a father. And being a father will mean interaction. How do I do remote interaction? As I said, we have Zoom for those who are working and have the chance. And we have radio, we have the phones now, the mobile phones. if a young boy knows that my dad will be calling me and I'll be telling him what difficulties I have, I'm sure the boy will deliberately adjust.
Okay.
So contact, meaningful contact, not just contact.
Yeah,
meaningful
contact.
Deliberate contact. But I would say the most effective, I could be wrong, but what I think is that the father, whether he is on the moon or just next door, makes it very clear to the children that he loves and respects his wife. There's no shortcut to that. That the boys will know that our dad, loves mom and respects mom. So when mom talks, they will know that dad is talking.
Oh yeah.
Or and the other way around.
Yeah.
So that I think is very important. The relationship between the spouses.
Okay.
And then the spouses transferring the same relationship as a package to the kids.
To the kids. You know, we've talked about an influx of information today. I mean, there's technology, media, there's the trending culture or the pop culture, and then there's the way you want to raise up your child. If you're a Christian, you want to raise them up in the way of the Lord. How do you navigate through all that, David? How do you find a balance? Because sometimes talking from the perspective of a Christian parent, sometimes we want to shield our children so much. You know, we want to shield them. We make sure there's no darkness that comes to them. We are very careful about what they watch, which schools they go to. Some of us want to homeschool them until the day they leave the house to get married. You know, we feel that, man, we got to do this thing. There's so much evil out there. How do you find balance?
I mean, it's throughout Scripture, God is very pretty clear about our responsibility as parents, and He places in the hands of and this responsibility in the hands of our parents. And none is more clear than Deuteronomy 6:6-7. It says, "These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children." Listen, impress them on your children.
Yeah.
Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. So this is a responsibility God is giving us as parents, to teach our children what matters to God. It doesn't mean forcing them into certain sets of beliefs or rituals. Rather, it means demonstrating a real faith. So by the end of the day, we cannot run away from this thing of demonstrating. And then again, there is that balance. What I've seen for me is is having a balance of the two. Sometimes I would leave my son, and especially the eldest one, I just want to see what is it that he's watching. Then again, can we also discuss what he's watching, what he's reading? And if he's not comfortable, then he's doing the wrong thing. You know, if he's not comfortable, so that is how I was involved with my son. So if he's not free to discuss what he's getting access to as media, then again, that is a telltale sign to tell you this is not something that I'm doing right. Then again, if also another telltale sign, can he watch it openly? Can he read it openly? So as parents, these are the small things you can be able to observe. And as I said earlier, it's not that it's a book that I've read. This is things that I've seen them do, you know? Then another thing is whatever that, say for example, and I'm not trying to sound bougie, you know, when it's to take time to walk with you, to take time to walk with them, take time to drive with them, you know. And if you observe these kidogo change of them, then be able to have some time with them and you know, discuss openly. Another thing that I also have done, whatever books I'm reading, he has access to them, you know.
Yeah.
And I started with a very basic book, you know, like of purpose, you know, purpose living life. Simple. Can I read it? Yes. Is it beneficial to me? Yes. So it can be beneficial to him.
Okay.
Then again, because it's a day you read one chapter a day.
Yeah.
Then can we sit down and discuss it? But then again, in their language. Another thing, what I didn't want to impose to him is my language.
Yeah.
So he has also to we have also to discuss in their language, at his level, and also at his vision and projection and what he wants to do in life.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Before we run out of time, Mr. Mbuchi, one of the narratives I keep hearing a lot is the girl child has been over-empowered. The girl child has been over-empowered. The boy child is not being empowered. And so my question to you, Mr. Mbuchi, is what are the gaps in the boy child today? And what are we meant to be doing? Because I believe the men are the ones who are supposed to be empowering the boy child. So what are some of the gaps you have seen in the boy child today? And what do we need to do as men and fathers in the society to bridge that gap? Lazima tukuwe na BBI yetu sisi wenyewe wanaume.
Yeah, thank you. This once again is a tricky question. My firstborn child is a girl. She's an engineer. Studied at Nairobi University. She's very balanced and working on her own even through the COVID. Our second born is a son, a graduate also. But I noticed that something must have happened during the upbringing when the girl became very confident and the young man is hesitant. Also, the question that Bhatia addressed, openness in communication. We have been on the internet since they were born. I studied in Europe, and as soon as I came back, that's the time that the internet was being born, kind of rolled out. So they have grown up with the internet like with the water or electricity.
Wow.
And although they use it to earn a living, I do not know what else they use it for. I did not do like Bhatia did to discuss, to make sure that we discuss what they are watching, and that's a gap. And I think Bhatia has helped us. We have to fill it up to know what are our kids observing, what is trending in their life, because the internet is crammed, is full of information, but not the knowledge, just information. And they pick it up and make their own, they make it their own knowledge, a knowledge that we are strangers to. So it's a challenge. What I think we need to do, and this is my last comment, is that the Kenyan society in which we are embedded has to look at Article 10 of the Kenyan Constitution. Article 10 is called our national values and principles of governance. If we were asked today, what are our values as Kenyans? What are our principles of governance at home? It could be difficult. So I think we are challenged. By to thinking out a new life.
Wow. Gentlemen, unfortunately, we have to wrap it up because my producer is whispering into my ear. And she's saying we are out of time, and true, we are out of time because we need to get into something else. But thank you so much. I feel like we haven't quite finished this discussion, so most likely we will get into a part 2 of it. But thank you so much for availing yourselves and for sharing from your personal lives and how you're raising up your families. We truly do appreciate that. I'm out of time for Man Up today, but we are getting into Food for Thought with Professor Ndetei as we continue to tackle mental health issues. So stick with me.
Food for Thought with Professor David Ndetei.
It's another beautiful day. How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. It's Food for Thought with Professor Ndetei. It's the 4th part of a 4-part series that we began 3 weeks ago talking about borderline personality disorder. I'm sure you've learned quite a number of things about this disorder. And if you have a family member or a friend that is exhibiting some of the traits we are talking about, my friend, reach out and get them the help that they need. That is why we are doing this segment of the show, to educate you and I about mental health issues. So today we wrap up this conversation. There's still a couple of things we need to talk about. Let's pick up this conversation from where we left off last week. How do you manage such a person?
Well,
thinking that probably if their case is not that extreme to the levels of 8, 9, or 10, if they're somewhere in between there, how do you manage such a person?
Well, if I may put it this way, you just can't. I just can't say. I just can't go and say, you so and so. I think you have a problem. As a doctor, I cannot say that.
Yeah.
And I cannot say you need to be treated. Okay. You must go to. You cannot do that. I may be somebody here on the streets, and there are very many of them. And as you drive, you say, well, that person is suffering from schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious, maybe to me as a psychiatrist, but I just can't go and say, hey, go for treatment.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And sometimes they are protected by law. If you go to San Francisco,
yes,
it has got the highest number of people living on the streets.
Really?
Yes. A leading city with people living on the streets. When I first went there with colleagues, I was asking them, what's the matter? There are so many people on the streets. He said, yes, we know they have mental illness, but you cannot touch them unless they break the law.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you can't touch them unless they break the law. How is behavior, how is living on the streets affecting you as a person? Or how has it affected anybody else as a person?
Yeah.
It is your right. So in other words, it's not just the severity that makes you gives you the justification to intervene, is whether somebody makes a request. Yeah. It can be that person who says, I think I have a problem, can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Or more often than not, is somebody else who comes and tells, says, I have a friend, he or she seems to have a problem, and I just want to help because it's affecting maybe the relationship between him and I, or I can see it is affecting his job. But more often than not is the relatives who live with this person who say, we can't take it
anymore.
Okay. Please help us. The person who comes along, the patient, may say, yes, I need some help, but more often than not they say, no, I don't have the help. It's they are the ones who are the problem. They are the ones who are treating me badly, they are not kind to me, and so on and so on. So when you intervene, you intervene only when there is a request from somewhere. Either the patient himself, or a friend, or a relative, or sometimes the employer who says, we have this kind of person, we think there's a problem, we don't understand this person, can you really help us understand this person? That's how they get into treatment.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, when they get to treatment, then there are various ways of treating them. And the most important one is history.
Okay.
And the history should not the most important person to provide that history is not the patient himself or herself. It is somebody who knows that person very well.
Okay.
And has known that person for a long time, and they will be able to tell you how it started, what it is that.
So the history is basically their behavior.
The history is the most diagnostic tool. Yeah, You know, I remember Dr. James McDougall, he's now in his 80s, late 90s, when he was just to teach us here in the medical school, he used to tell us, when you are taking history, listen, and listen, and listen, because whoever giving you the history
Yes.
is giving you the diagnosis. Like taking the history is like going to a laboratory. They take blood from you, and then they go and do lots and lots of tests, and they tell you this is where the problem is. We don't do that in psychiatry. We take very good history. Even in medicine, you have to take very good history.
Yeah.
You take very good history from the people who know this person very well, and eventually you also include the patient, what you say about this has been said, and then in the process, you establish a dialogue.
Okay. Before we get a little bit more detail about the treatment, I'm just wondering, is there a particular kind of age group where this manifests a lot?
Yes. And it begins to, as I said, very early in life. Because I said it is a pervasive condition.
Yes.
But it tends to manifest mostly in adolescence and early adulthood. Because that is when people are trying to find their place in society, their emotional identity. No wonder sometimes they call it adolescent crisis, that kind of behavior. I mean, we have heard about that story.
Yes.
It revolves around that way. So that's where we tend to see it most. So most of the people that I see here, and I'm sure the same with the other psychiatrists, it tends to occur in young people.
Young people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit more about the treatment. What
The
does that
treatment, as I
entail?
said, history is very, very important because you'll be able to get to know the diagnosis. You'll be able to know that this person, because of the history, this problem has been going on for a long time. We are most likely dealing with a personality disorder.
Yeah.
Because they will not come and say, Doctor, I have borderline personality. They will not say that.
No, they don't even know.
They don't even know.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
They don't even know. So by taking that history, you can say, from the history, I'm dealing with a personality disorder. What kind of personality disorder I'm talking about? And then let's assume that eventually it is borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
This person, as we said, and we have been talking about comorbidity, they may have a mood disorder, a manic disorder. They may have either manic phase or depressive phase, which is when they get depressed, please don't get surprised, because they have all of these problems. They know something is not going on right. There's something wrong, either with them or with the people around them or with the environment. They are very stressed. Yeah, who will not get stressed if they go through all those problems, the relational problems? So, getting depressed by a person who has gone through all of those issues is actually understandable, or even anxious, and so on and so on. So, you want to unravel any comorbidity that is existing.
Yes.
And you treat the comorbidity, if it's depression, whatever it is, you treat it. And assuming that is now those other surrounding or conditions are taken care of, then you can focus on your borderline disorder.
Okay.
And that's where the problem is, because these people are not easy to treat.
Why?
Well, they are not easy to treat because there is no medicine that you can give.
Oh.
If you are dealing with depression, if there is depression that is related to that personality disorder, if there is an obvious psychiatric disorder for which we have medicine, then you can treat those. More often than not, they tend to improve because you have, if you treat the depression, for example, you will have removed a complicating factor. Yeah. So once you've taken those things out of the way, and then you are just left with a borderline disorder. Yeah. and that is the only thing that you are dealing with, then it's not easy because there's no medication for that. But then there are ways that can be used to treat this condition. One of them is what we call cognitive behavior. There are forms of psychotherapy. You are not giving medicine, but you are talking. They call it talking therapy.
Yeah.
First of all, you want them to understand their condition, because most of the time they really don't understand what's going on in their lives. And you tell them, I think this is what is happening.
Yes.
Or you ask them the question, do you think there's anything the matter with you? Probably after taking that kind of history, which may take up to about 1 hour or so, then they will begin to realize that they have there's an issue here.
Yeah.
And then you ask them, what do you think the issue is? They will tell you, I do not know. And then you explain. So getting the person to understand his or her problem is very, very important. And this is not only in psychiatry.
Yeah.
It's in every condition, whether you are dealing with a malignancy, that is cancer, what kind of cancer is this, what could have happened, if it's diabetes or whatever you are dealing with.
Yes.
Patients need to be educated about their own conditions.
Yeah.
That's very important. So creating awareness not only in the relatives, for them to understand that this is not a difficult patient, a difficult person. This person has got issues which they have no control over. It's not their fault. It's a very important treatment. And also, at this point, even before we focus on the individual, you are talking about treating the whole family.
Oh.
Yes, you are talking about treating the whole family, because if I have a problem, and you are my father, it will have caused problems between you two. So the father also is a patient. That family is also they are patients. So getting their relatives to understand what is going on and improve that kind of relationship. You see, we call it family therapy.
Yeah,
it's like you are bringing them together to talk about this person, and then in that way you remove the negative connotations between the negative communication between these two people. If, for example, if I have a pen, I can say, and maybe I've given you this example before. I'm holding a pen.
Yeah.
I can say, call me David. David, give me that pen. You can say, give me that pen.
Yeah.
Forwards. Give me that pen. But the way you say it is going to have very different implication.
Yes.
If you say, give me that pen, I'll give you that pen, because you have asked in a normal way.
Yeah.
But if you say, give me that pen, as if you are going to fight, my reaction will be very different. Maybe I'll give you the pen, but I'll be left frightened.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect me. Yeah. Or if I go on my knees and say, give me that pen, I'll give you the pen, but you have to go on your knees. We call it expressed emotions. And it's a very important dynamic in the family relationship.
Yes.
Just the way they talk. Okay? But the parents will come and say, this person, this son of mine, this and that and that. And, you know, the father will say, I don't want even to see you.
Yes, yes.
It does not help.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that the information we've been giving you as we've talked about borderline personality disorder has been beneficial to you. Once again, if there are any mental health issues you would want us to discuss with Professor Ndetey, feel free to suggest. Our SMS line is 20316 and our WhatsApp number is 0786 316 316. Have yourselves a great day and God bless you.
Food for Thought with Professor David Bitte.
This and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.